Most people assume that living next to an HOA means endless arguments about lawn height, mailbox color, and fence styles. Me, I'd take any of that over what my HOA neighbor, Karen, decided to do. Because somehow, she convinced herself that my farm, the one I own outright, the one that has been in my family for 3 generations, was her personal shortcut. And she proved it every single day by driving her luxury SUV straight across my fields. Not around them, not beside them, through them. And when I say through, I mean over my irrigation lines, through my planted rows, and dangerously close to my livestock. It started small, then it escalated, then she declared war. She just didn't expect me to finish it. 1. The first time I saw her. My farm borders a newer HOA subdivision. They built the neighborhood after buying land from a distant relative who only owned a small northern piece of our original estate. The buyers built a cluster of homes, slapped on HOA rules thicker than a phone book, and brought in people who liked to pretend they lived in a gated community. One of them was Karen. I spotted her the first time early one morning while I was loading feed buckets into my ATV. An expensive white SUV rolled right across my east pasture like it was a paved road. She waved at me as if she were borrowing a cup of sugar. I waved back, if waving back meant raising my arms in complete confusion and shouting, "Hey, you can't drive there." She didn't stop, didn't even slow down. She just kept rolling, tires flattening my new alfalfa seedlings. I thought maybe she was lost. Nope, she turned onto a narrow path, cut behind the tree line, and emerged straight into the HOA neighborhood through a small break in the shrubs. A shortcut. My land. Her shortcut. 2. I confronted her. Spoiler. She didn't care. That afternoon, I walked to her house. HOA-approved beige, perfectly symmetrical shrubs, identical mailbox to her neighbor's. She was unloading groceries. "Ma'am," I said, "you drove across my farm this morning." She didn't blink. "Yes. The main road was congested." "Your field is faster." "My field is private property. It's open land," she said smugly. "There's no fence. It's still my land." "Well, you should put a fence if you don't want cars on it." I stared at her. She said it the way someone might say, "Well, you should have locked your door if you didn't want burglars." I tried to be calm. "Please don't drive across my property again." She snorted. An actual, audible snort. "I'll drive where I need to. Besides, the HOA says that area is community accessible green space." I almost laughed. "The HOA doesn't own my farm." Her smile faltered. "Well, I'll bring it up with them." She went inside like she had just won something. 3. The HOA gets involved, and makes it worse. 2 days later, I got a letter. A formal, sealed, "You're in trouble" letter from their HOA. Inside was a notice. Greater than, cease blocking community members from using the East Field pathway. This path has been used as an unofficial thoroughfare and must remain unobstructed. I read it 3 times. They thought they could regulate my land. I drove straight to their next meeting. I wasn't part of the HOA, but they didn't bar the public from attending. Karen was there, front and center, acting like she was queen of the cul-de-sac. When the floor opened, I raised my hand. "I own the East Field," I said. "And you all need to stop driving across it." Karen interrupted before anyone else could speak. "He's being unreasonable. That shortcut saves everyone 5 minutes on the morning commute." One board member asked, "Is it true your property isn't fenced?" "Yes," I said, "but it's still private." Another board member flipped through a binder. "The HOA can't enforce rules on non-member land, Karen." Karen turned bright red. "But we use it. That makes it community space." The board shook their heads. That should have been the end. But it wasn't. 4. The trespassing gets worse. The next week, Karen started a full-on campaign. She posted on the HOA forum. Greater than, "The farmer is blocking our community road. Use it anyway. He can't stop everyone." And people listened. Suddenly, 3 or 4 cars per day were cutting across my land. Then a dozen. They tore up my planted rows. They cracked a PVC irrigation line. Someone hit a water trough and didn't even stop. I put stakes in the ground. They drove around them. I put a sign. "Private property, do not enter." Karen knocked it over. I caught her one evening and shouted across the field, "I'm calling the sheriff next time you trespass." She leaned out her window and yelled, "The law will back me." The sheriff came. He issued her a warning. She laughed in his face. 5. The final straw. She endangered my livestock. One afternoon I found tire tracks inside my cattle enclosure. Someone had opened the gate, driven through, and left it swinging open. 2 of my cattle were missing. I found them later near the creek, frightened but safe. That was it. I was done being polite. I wasn't going to hurt anyone. I wasn't going to damage their property. But I was going to protect mine. And if Karen wanted a shortcut, I would give her a shortcut she'd never forget. 6. I dig the trench. I couldn't build a fence fast enough. I couldn't keep watch 24 hours a day. But what I could do? Use my tractor. The next day, I spent 6 solid hours carving a long, deep trench right along the path Karen always cut across. Nearly 3 feet deep, wide enough that a car couldn't cross it. I put up bright orange stakes and reflective tape. Notified the sheriff that I was protecting my property. Filed a written notice. Everything legal, everything documented. If someone ignored the warnings, that was their fault. The trench looked obvious, impossible to miss. Unless, of course, you were someone who believed the rules didn't apply to you. 7. The day Karen found the trench, with her SUV. I was in my workshop when I heard the engine. A familiar one. A too loud, too confident SUV tearing across my field. I stepped outside, and there she was, Karen, speeding over the hill, sunglasses on, phone in hand, blasting music. She didn't see the trench. I tried waving. I shouted. She kept going. And then, WHOOMP. Her SUV's front end dropped like a rock. Mud splashed up in a glorious wave. The back end seesawed before slamming down. The whole vehicle tilted forward, stuck at a perfect awkward angle, front wheels deep in the mud pit. Karen screamed like she was being eaten by a bear. I jogged toward her, trying not to laugh and failing completely. She threw open the door and shrieked, "You sabotaged me." I pointed at the reflective stakes. "I warned you. Sheriff has the notice. This is illegal. It's my land." She stomped around her sinking SUV, which was now glugging deeper as water seeped in from last night's rain. "I'll sue you. The law will sue you. You owe me a new car." I crossed my arms. "Karen, you trespassed. Again. You can't just dig holes." She screamed. "It's called protecting my property." The sheriff approved it. She froze. Because right then, a sheriff's car pulled up at the edge of the field. 8. Legal reality hits hard. The sheriff walked over, expression already annoyed. "Ma'am," he said, "you were warned multiple times." Karen sputtered. "He trapped me. He marked the trench clearly," the sheriff replied. "This is on you." She tried arguing, then screaming, then crying. The sheriff remained unmoved. He gave her 3 citations. Trespassing, reckless endangerment, destruction of agricultural property. Her face drained as she read them. And then came the best part. "We're towing your vehicle, off the farm owner's bill, not yours." Karen shrieked as the tow truck hauled her SUV out of the trench, covered in mud, bumper hanging off like a sad loose tooth. 9. The WA tries one last time. I thought that was the end of it. Nope. The WA board sent me an email requesting an emergency meeting. I attended out of morbid curiosity. Karen sat there with a neck brace, pure theatrics, and glared at me like I'd attacked her personally. The board president cleared his throat. "Sir, could you consider filling the trench? Karen has reported that it presents a danger to the community." "I will not," I said calmly. "But I will be building a fence." Karen slammed her fist on the table. "He's doing this out of spite." I looked at her. "Yes, because you drove across my farm." One board member sighed. "Karen, after reviewing the sheriff's report, you were in the wrong." Karen gasped like someone had slapped her. "You're taking his side." "No," the board member said tiredly. "We're taking reality's side." That meeting ended with Karen storming out, threatening to call corporate WA headquarters, which doesn't exist. 10. What happened after? I built a sturdy fence across the entire property line. The HOA paid part of the cost after realizing it protected them as much as me. Karen stopped driving across my land. Actually, she stopped driving anywhere. Her SUV was totaled. She bought a tiny compact car she hated. She also stopped talking to me. Which was fine. As for the trench, I kept it for a while. Not to trap cars, but because it actually stopped flooding from the subdivision runoff. Eventually, I filled it in. But not before making sure the HOA understood one final, unshakable truth. My land is mine, not theirs, not Karen's, not anyone else's shortcut. And every time Karen glances at my field, she gives it a wide berth, like it might swallow her whole again. Dash dash dash.